Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sadi Gaura Bhaktavan. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Pranams to all Matajis. Any Matajis or
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Any Mataji wants to start a kirtan? Hare Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prashanta Balram Das Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shall I make you the host, Mataji?
No, Mataji, you only remain the host. I will share the screen. You will be the host.
Okay, Mataji. You will share.
I will share the screen if Prabhuji asks me to. Hare Krishna. I think Prabhuji has joined. Prashanatma Balram Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes,
Please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I was not able to unmute myself for some reason.
No
So that is where I was not able to respond.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I am there, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you want me to share the screen today?
I think I should be able to do that. That's all right.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
So just let me know when we can start. Accordingly, we can get started.
We can start, Prabhu, which is 9:30.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Dandavat pranams. So we'll start of the week, Monday morning, then with the Bhagavatam. I hope my voice is audible. You're able to hear and then see me.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. I just request Mataji, you or the host, whoever, if we could just take care of the unmuting of, if you could mute whenever there is any disturbance, that will be wonderful.
Yeah, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
If by chance somebody is unmuting or somebody is unmuted, then you can just mute them so that there is no disturbance for the others. Thank you. All right, so we'll get started. Today, actually, we'll be looking from verses from 6 to 10. Yes, I think 6 to 10 from the 24th chapter, 3rd canto. So we'll be looking at verses from 6 to 10. I'll go ahead and share in a while. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. I've started to share. Just let me know if you can see it on the screen.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
All right, just a second. Okay, so 3.24.6. Tasyam bahutite kale Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Kadamam Viryam Apanno Jagne Agnir Ivadharuni. So, anybody wants to try this shloka? I see a lot of hands raised. Yes, Vasudha Mataji, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Tasyam bahuti te kale Bhagavan Madhusudanaha Kardamam Viryam di Apanno Jagne Agnir Ivadharuni. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. The translation, who would like to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudan, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in the just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So we'll look at all the verses one after another up to 10. So verse number 7 is also now on display. So who would like to read this?
May I, Prabhu? May I try?
Padma Mataji, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranams.
Then was pranams.
Avadayam stada vyomni vaditrani grahan graha gayanti gayanti tamsma gandharva नृत्यन्ते अप्सरोऽसो मुदा. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Sudha Mataji, you can read the translation, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
At the time of translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. At the time of his descent on earth, demigods in the form of raining clouds sounded musical instruments in the sky. The celestial musicians, the Gandharvas, sang the glories of the Lord, while celestial dancing girls, known as Apsaras, danced in joyful ecstasy. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Verse number 8, Prashanti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
Pranams.
Krishna. Pranams to you.
Vetu sumanaso divya kecharairapavarjita praseduschatisha sarva ambansi cha manansi cha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Rishabhanu Mataji, you can read the translation, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. At the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigod flying freely in the sky showered flowers, all the direction, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. Thank you so much. Hare Hare. So 9. Verse
Shanti
number
Mataji,
9.
you can read the shloka, and Krishnamurti Prabhu, you can read the translation.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Tadgardhamashramapadam saraswadhya parishritam swayam bhuhu sakham rushibhihi marichadibihi abhyayat.
Thank you, Mataji. And then the translation.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranams Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada Ki Jai. Brahma, the first-born living being, went along with the Marichi and other sages to the place of Kardama's hermitage, which was surrounded by the river Saraswati. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranams Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sharmila Mataji, you can read the shloka, and I'll read the translation, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavantam param brahma sattvenamshena shatruhan tatpasankyana vijnaptyai jatam vidvanaja swarat. Thank you, Mataji.
Archana
Thank you,
Mataji, you can
Mataji.
read the translation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maitreya continued, O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, appeared in the womb of Devahuti just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So devotees, thank you all so much. Very nicely, all of you read the verses and as well as the purports, or I mean the translation. So just go back to the first verse, then we can get started from there. Just give me a minute. So in all, we are seeing these 5 shlokas today. So people who have joined now, we just completed. So verses 6 to 10 we are seeing. We just recited all the verses and then the translation. Now we'll just try to see in detail what is being told here and what Prabhupada is trying to bring out in these verses. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Scha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before we get started, I'm just seeking the mercy, the blessings of all the Vaishnavis who are present here. Kindly bless me so that I'll be able to do some justice to these verses. The right words come in the right time, in the right spirit. Doing this as a seva for the Guru Parampara, for the pleasure of the Lordships, and for my own purification. Hare Krishna. So, a little bit of the background, it's always good to know, though I think that would also serve as a revision, because I think every speaker goes through the background a little bit just to get into the mood of the discussion or the actual emotions behind these verses. Okay. So, actually, what are we seeing here? This chapter is titled as Renunciation of Kardama Muni. So we saw in detail how the Lord appeared before Kardama Muni. That was 2 chapters ago. And then he told him what is going to happen, how Swayambhu Manu is going to come and then give his daughter and all of that. So we are aware of that. We saw in detail. And then after that, then he gets married to her. And then after that, their Grihastha life starts, where he's actually serving him very nicely. Devahuti is serving Kardama Muni in a very wonderful way to facilitate his daily, activities like the homas, the havans, and then the tapas, and all of that he's undertaking. She is very nicely assisting him in that. Then she actually desires to have a child. This is after many, many years. Then after that, then she wants to have a child. Then she wants a male child at that. And actually, she is lamenting. So Devahuti is also a very elevated soul, we can understand, because she actually, in all these while, she used to look at the husband from a materialistic point of view, like any other person. Then she realizes later on that what a fool I have been. And then she actually chastises herself. And then Kardama Muni actually is able to read the mind of Devahuti. And then he can understand through his, because Kardama Muni is a very elevated personality, so which we know. And through his siddhis, he is able to understand the mind of Devahuti in a very nice way. And then he is able to, and then he is actually pacifying her. And then he tells her about her glories. He tells her how you have so selflessly served me, so wonderfully you have served me. Your service is very praiseworthy, Kardama Muni is saying. And then he says, because of this, because you carried out your duty, your kartavya, so you will definitely benefit for all the vows that you have undertaken. So he said how the Supreme Personality is going to appear in your womb. So, like we said before, Kardama Muni is aware of many things. He is aware of what's going to happen and how things are going to unfold. So he says that very shortly you will be blessed with a child, and that too not just an ordinary child, but it will be Supreme Personality himself. He is going to appear. But actually, she was very respectful to her husband. So he says, so she asked, like, what should I do and all that. So in reply, Kardama Muni says that you should actually pray to the Lord, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to the Universal Master. So if you keep praying to him, then this will please the Lord, and then he will enter the womb, your womb, in a way that he becomes your child. So this way, Kardama Muni is giving instructions to Devahuti, and then Devahuti immediately embarks on all devotional activities to please the Lord. So now coming to this verse, 6th verse, there what is happening is how does the translation go? Syam bahutite kale. So that's the first line where it says, in Devahuti, after many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, Bhagavan Madhusudana, so he actually entered into the womb of Devahuti through the semen of Kardama. So that's what this particular verse is saying. So here Prabhupada, I'll just read this translation once. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, the killer of demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devahuti just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. So there are two aspects that we will see here. Prabhupada brings out two aspects about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll try to understand that. Firstly, the first aspect that is coming out here is that the Lord is all-pervading. So he is present everywhere. Okay, that we know. But then here, that aspect Prabhupada is bringing out. So he, by his own will, he manifests himself in the womb of Devahuti through the semen of Kardama Muni. So, in this, Prabhupada says that the Lord actually can come anyhow, in whatever way he wants, he can come. And the example that is given here is just as how the fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. So Prabhupada writes that the fire is already present in the wood, like how in the creation, in the whole expansive universe, the Lord has pervaded the entire creation, all the creations, all the Brahmandas put together, everything, the total creation, he is pervaded. We know that. So he can appear anywhere. And then that the simile or this thing given is like just how the fire is present in wood. And by a certain process, fire is kindled in that wood. And then the fire begins to manifest. So all along, the fire is inherent in it. And then by a certain process, then it can be kindled. And then you will see fire coming out of the wood. Similarly, God is all-pervading. He is everywhere. And since he may come out from everything, from anywhere, however he wants, he can come out. What is the proof for this understanding? How has the Lord appeared in many instances? You can give some examples. Anyone?
Narasimhadev.
Like Narasimha.
Narasimhadev.
Yes,
Then
Narasimhadev Bhagwan ki
fish
jai.
incarnation.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody was saying something
Fish
else.
incarnation. Varahadev.
Varaha, yes. So Narasimha, so we are very near to Narasimha Jayanti, right? So, and then it's very apt for us to remember Narasimhadev. So Narasimhadev came out from the pillar. So since the Lord is everywhere, then in that instance, as Narasimhadev, he comes out through the pillar. Then Varaha also, that's the example Prabhupada gives, which you rightly pointed out, you all, where he has come out through the nostrils of Lord Brahma. And in this case, that's the case of Kapila, Lord Kapila, he is coming through the semen of Kardama and through the entering the womb of Devahuti, and then he is being born. So now this is one aspect that he is all pervading, I said, and then he can come out anywhere. So we should not understand, or sometimes we should not wrongly conclude that the pillar is the source of the Lord, or Devahuti's womb is the source of the Lord. No, Lord entered there, and then it looked like he is coming out from there. But then that is the case for, I mean, that's how Prabhupada is explaining in the purport, where he is saying that we should not think in that way, because the Lord is Anadi, Adhar. He is like, and there is no one who is, I mean, he's not, there is no cause for him. We all have a cause, right? Prabhupada explains so well. We all have a father and a mother. So we have a cause. Because of that cause, I am the effect. So I am here because of the parents. So like that. But then for the Lord, it is not like that. He is present eternally, even though it might look like in certain leelas or pastimes, sometimes the Lord comes from the womb of Devahuti, and in another instance, he came out through the womb of Devaki. That is, Krishna himself comes in that case. And then here it is Kapila, Lord Kapila, who's actually an expansion of Krishna. So those also we will try to see a little bit in detail about the technicalities of various expansions of the Lord. As we move forward, we'll try to cover that. So in this way, we can understand how the Lord can come out in or can manifest himself in whichever way he wants. Then another aspect that Prabhupada brings out very nicely is how the Lord is always Lord. Whether he is in the womb of Devahuti, or whether the Lord is manifesting through the semen of Kardama, or it's a small child Krishna, or when he comes out from the pillar, or the small Varaha that came out through the nostrils of Brahma. At any instance, at any point, that there is no point when the Lord is not Lord. So I think that is clear for everyone. Lord is Lord always. There is no instance or there is no situation where the Lord will cease to be a Lord. It doesn't happen like that. Even when the Lord, as Damodara is running away scared from his mother, that is Yashoda, when she is chasing him with the stick, we know that Leela, where he is showing all those signs of fear and all of that, which is so unlikely for the Lord, right? But then, even in that instance, the Acharyas say the Lord is always Lord. He has just given the control to Yashoda, so that it looks like she's controlling him, because that's the rasa that he wants to have a relationship or an interaction with his devotees in that way, based on their temperament. So, because Yashoda wanted to see the Lord as her own child, and so he facilitated that. That's all. Otherwise, the Lord is always Lord. So that's another point that comes out. And then we know that Sarva Karana Karanam, he is the reason for everything, the Lord. And what is that? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadar Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So that's how Lord Brahma is actually beginning the description of Lord. And we can see, I mean, we've seen those in details about how the Lord doesn't, he's Anadi, Radha, and then he's Govinda, he gives pleasure to the senses, and then he's Sarva Karana Karanam. And then such a Lord, Govindam Adi Purusham, Aham Bhajami. So I'm worshipping such a Lord who's like this. So in this way, Lord Brahma is actually glorifying the Lord. In fact, various acharyas have also glorified the Lord. Sometimes, they say, like, we have parents, like we are not anath, but then they say that the Lord is anath, like, because he doesn't have parents, so there's no cost for him. So in that way, he says, like, you are anath, but I am not. So because I have you, but then you don't have anyone. So in this way, various ways, the devotees of the Lord sometimes have various kinds of interactions, which are actually very thought-provoking, and also it helps us to understand how the Lord reciprocates with each of them according to their tastes or rasas or wishes, desires that they have. And then, so now there's a situation where the Lord has entered into the womb of Devahuti. So people like elevated people like Kardama Muni are all aware of this. At the same time, all the demigods or the people in the heavenly planets, they also are aware of this particular incident that has happened. So what happens? They all break out into a joy, a joyful ecstasy that surrounds them all, and then they become so happy, and then they are singing in praise of the Lord. So each time when the Lord is descending, then the descending means, like, I mean, from avatar, so he comes down, he takes an avatar, then it's a joyful moment for all the demigods also, and they are very happy. Even in when the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if you see, so there also the demigods actually come to the house of where he was born, and then Sachimata's place where baby Chaitanya was born. So they all come, and then we've seen that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It comes like they see some very strange people, very good-looking people, very opulent people suddenly coming from nowhere, paying obeisances and going. So there it is explained that it is the demigods who are coming, and then because they want to have darshan. So that way, the celestial individuals, they would want to come and then see the Lord. They are very clear, even though they have a role to perform, but they are very clear who's the boss. So they are not confused like us human beings on earth, where we are not very sure who's the Lord and is he really the Lord, and those sort of things. But they are very clear about their understanding, and that is why they have those positions. So they know who's the Lord and under whose instructions they are carrying out their particular task. So in the next verse, then you can also see it continues that at the time of the Lord's appearance, the demigods freely flying in the sky, showered flowers, and all the directions, all the waters, and everyone's mind became very satisfied because they were thinking of the Lord, they were witnessing that. So it was very, it brought about a change in the atmosphere. So everybody became very satisfied. There was no material anchoring or misgivings or anything. So this we can see even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance also, how everybody became very joyful, very satisfied. There was no, what do you call, negative emotions were not prevalent, or it kind of, that was not in the atmosphere. So that's something that was palpable for the people at that point. So in that long description of the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a mention about how everybody became so satisfied. So you have a very similar situation here also, where the demigods, everybody, whoever was in touch or whoever was connecting with this particular incident, they became very satisfied in their minds. So this is the effect. I mean, this is how then we can understand that, the Lord, then his pastimes or his paraphernalia or his rupa, everything, it's all one. And then, you are in touch with anything, then you will have the same effect on you. It will become very peaceful because the Lord is spiritual. He is always transcendental. Whereas we are conditioned to be in the material world. And because we are conditioned in the material world, those 6 Arshad Vargas are there with us. What is that? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Madha, Matsarya. Now, when moving into the spiritual region means what? Then not having any of this. There is no Kama, there is no Krodha, there is no Lobha, Moha, Madha, Matsarya. None of them are there. So all these negative emotions are, it evaporates. It is removed from our hearts. And so we become very peaceful, very happy. And then we are very, what do you say? There is no animosity. So we become very friendly to everybody. And then, we are calm with ourselves. So there is no situation where we are having any insecurity. It would be a wonderful situation to be like that, right? So that is possible when we associate with the Lord. When we associate with the Lord directly or indirectly through his name, through his leelas, through his pastime. And these are things that we have all experienced to some degree or other. Each one of us have experienced it based on to what extent we are allowing ourselves to be immersed in those things, like when Katha is going on, to what extent we are allowing ourselves to be immersed in it. So to that extent, then we become very joyful or very peaceful, and all the negative qualities go away. So this happens with not only the earthly people, but also with the demigods. So what else Prabhupada is saying? That here Prabhupada is taking out the aspect that demigods who are flying freely, so they are able to fly freely in outer space, and even those people, they become very happy. So Prabhupada says that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is mention of the inhabitants of the planet called Siddhaloka, who can travel in space from one planet to another without impediment. So nothing can stop them. They can just go from one place to another. So they also showered flowers on the earth when Lord Kapila, the son of Kardama, appeared. So that's the situation. And then when we move on to the next verse, so what's happening? The head of all the demigods. Who is the head of all the demigods?
Indra Prabhuji.
Brahma.
Brahma, Lord Brahma. In this verse,
Brahma.
we are talking about Brahma, who's the creator, the supreme head. In one sense, he is like, there is no one who's next to him in the material world. So this Lord Brahma himself, along with Marichi and other sages, they are actually visiting the place of Kardama's hermitage, which is surrounded by the river Saraswati. So it's a very wonderful setting that is there. So there, Lord Brahma is coming. Now, how is Lord Brahma referred to in this verse? In verse number 9, anybody can say?
Firstborn Prabhuji.
Swayambhu.
Swayambhu, yes. So Swayambhu means Lord Brahma. Firstborn, that is also not born actually. Firstborn means not like that. He's self-born. Swayambhu means Swayambhu is self-born because he was not born in a way others are all born, but he was Swayambhu. That's why he's called as Swayambhu, and that word denotes Lord Brahma. And you see that here, Swayambhu's Satham Rishibhir. So along with Rishibhi, Swayambhu is coming. So even in the description of the 12 Mahajans, that's how it starts, right? Swayambhu Narada Shambhu. So that's Swayambhu's Lord Brahma. So there also you get, yeah, he's self-born, Swayambhu, which is Lord Brahma. Okay. And he's also a Mahajan. Okay. And so they are all coming there. And then Brahma is called Swayambhu because he is not born of any material father and mother. He is the first living creature and is born from the lotus which grows from the abdomen of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So he is called Swayambhu or self-born. So that's what Prabhupada says there. So Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. So we know that's in the Brahmanda. The lotus Lord is lying, and then there is a lotus that is sprouting from his navel. And on that lotus flower, then Lord Brahma manifested, or he was born there. So that we know that, right? So that's how he also comes to have a look at this wonderful thing that is happening, where the Lord is doing his pastime and then he is coming. Now, Lord Brahma actually, he is aware. So Maitreya is saying in the next verse, that is the 10th verse, he's saying, Bhagavantam Param Brahma Satvenam Shena Shatruhan. So what does that mean? So it says, O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who's almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devahuti just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. So Lord Brahma, he not only is aware that the Lord has come or the incarnation has happened, he also knows why he has come. Why the Lord has come, as per Brahma, he's come to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga. So Sankhya Yoga, all of you have heard? You all know what is Sankhya Yoga? I mean, some idea you all have?
In the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So anybody recalls?
Analysis of
Explanation
matter and
about the
spirit.
cosmos.
Yeah. So numbers. Sankhya means to count. So counting. So like matras, 5 numbers, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1. So all of that comes up to first it comes to 24, then after that it is 25, like that, So the various ways in which the different aspects or the expansions or the expansion of the expansions or the manifestations of the Lord, how it is manifesting in the material world around us, and how each of these manifestations, which are bhinna, some of them are internal expansions, some of them are external expansions, but all of them, how they all come together. Like if you take the human body, that's each one of us. So we know what is it comprising of with respect to the Shastric perspective. So where we know that we are made of Panchabhuta, then we have the 5 senses, that is the knowledge gathering sense, and then the working senses, and the tanmatras, and then the panchabhutas. So like that, 5, 5, 5, 5 becomes 20. Then we also have the mind. Then we have the intelligence, and then the false ego is also there. And then after that, then the soul is there. So how the Atma is covered in all of that. How all of these individually manifested aspects, like or manifested items, you can say. Some of it we can see, some of it we can't see, but I'll just call it as items or materials. All of them come together, and then the human body or the animal body or anything comes about in that way, and then it stays for some time, and then the soul is given a chance to sit in it and then enjoy itself in the way it wants to. And then after that, then it is, because it is temporary, then it kind of dwindles, and then it goes back to those elements, and then again, then the soul takes another birth. So this is how this Sankhya philosophy is explained, with numbers, with individual elements that comprises of the body, and that is how then that count is taken. And that is what is Sankhya Yoga in a very, very brief nutshell. But yes, Lord Kapila has come to explain that to Devahuti, because Mother Devahuti is actually saying, after the daughters are born, then she is saying that, I think, 7 daughters they have first. So she says the daughters anyway, they will get married, they will go away. Who will be there with me? So I will need a son who will be there with me, because you anyway are going to go away. That was also known to her, because that was the agreement that they had when they were getting married also. He said that the moment the son is born, then I will walk away. I will continue this thing. I will leave and then go. So they have agreed. So she says, like, now who will protect me? So I'll need a son. So there, again, it is said. So Kadamuni is saying, like, you will get a son. The son is the incarnation of the Lord Kapila, and he's going to explain Sankhya Yoga to you. Because she says, like, you please kindly enlighten me about all your whatever the Adhyatmika thing, so that I also will be able to imbibe and grasp it in all its entirety. Because earlier I said, no, she begins to lament, thinking that what have I done? I didn't associate with you properly. It is like you have a subject matter expert coming there who knows everything about a certain thing, and then you are spending some few hours with that individual, but then you don't ask or seek anything about that, but you just talk about some mundane thing, the weather and this and that, and then the time passes away and then it's going away. Then you start regretting, right? What did I do? Why did I waste my time like this, discussing some unimportant thing? I should have actually checked certain things with him so that I could have benefited from that. So that's how she is feeling. And then, so he says, like, anyway, I am not there, but our son will come and then he will explain everything to you. That's the teachings of Lord Kapila to Devahuti. That's a separate chapter by itself, which will come up as we move forward. So this is the background to how all this came about. And then we can see how Maitreya is continuing to speak to Vidura. And then he's saying how Lord Brahma also comes to see. And then he also knows why he is there. So that is one aspect that we can understand. And then in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that the Lord is actually the compiler of Vedanta Sutras. And then he is Vedantavit, Vedakrit, Eva Chaham, no? That particular shloka, where it says that he is the one who's the end of all Vedas. He is the compiler of the Vedas. He is the knower of Vedas and everything. So similarly, Sankhya philosophy is compiled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his appearance as Kapila. So now Prabhupada also tells us that there was another Kapila that came about afterwards, much later. These all happened many, many millions of years before. No? So after that, there was an imitation Kapila who also, had a Sankhya philosophy coming out from him. But that Kapila and this Lord Kapila are different. So Prabhupada is just bringing that out, cautioning us. Kapila, the son of Kardama Muni, in his system of Sankhya philosophy, he very explicitly explained not only the material world, but also the spiritual world, about the internal expansion, the external expansions. I mean, I'm just giving an overview, how he explained all of that. But Brahma could understand this fact because he is Swarat. He's almost independent in receiving knowledge. So he was given the knowledge directly from the Lord. So he is called as Swarat because He did not go to any school or college to learn, but learnt everything from within. Self-taught he was, Lord Brahma. Because Brahma is the first living creature within the universe, he had no teacher. And his teacher was the Supreme Personality Godhead himself. So he's the start of the parampara, right? Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya parampara. So from Lord Brahma, then Narada Muni, and then Vyasadev, you know how that whole parampara grew. So Lord Brahma is at the fountainhead of all the sampradayas, actually, if you see, because it's from Brahma only, then it went to Kumara, so the Kumara Sampradaya and all that. So like that, you can see how Lord Brahma is connected with these two sampradayas. Then, so he is who is seated in the Lord's heart. So Supreme Personality is seated. He is actually revealing himself to Lord Brahma. And that way, Lord Brahma acquired the knowledge directly from the Supreme Lord within his heart. And therefore, he is called as Swarat or Aja. So the definitions that we use for the Lord is sometimes used for Lord Brahma because of the position that he has in the material world. So then another important aspect that Prabhupada was bringing out is Satvena Amshena. So what is that? Satvena Amshena. So we'll just try to see what is the meaning of that. Satvena means having an uncontaminated existence, or having sattva gun, or filled with sattva, full of sattva. And then Amshena Amsha means plenary portion of the Lord. So the expansion of the Lord is in its pure goodness. We are not talking about sattva gun the way we understand it in the material world, but this is beyond that. It is a Shuddha Sattva stage of Sattva Guna, which is being highlighted here by Prabhupada. So when they say Sattvena, it is Shuddha Sattva and then Amsha. So we know that the Lord is actually Shuddha Sattva, or he is completely transcendental. There is no material contamination, and that is why everybody felt very satisfied in their minds and all. We saw that in the earlier verses. So, so in this word, this particular word is being used to denote when the Supreme Personality Godhead appears, he is in the Satvena Amshena. He is appearing as an Amsha, and he is in the pure transcendental mode. He doesn't get contaminated. So even though the Lord is coming into this material world, which is full of material contamination, still his purity is intact. That is why Lord is Lord always. But we are not like that, even though we are part and parcel of the Lord. So when I say we are talking about the Atma, that is us. We are also part and parcel of the Lord. We are the plenary, we are the portions of the portion of the portion of the expansion of the Lord, we can say. But then we are not in the Satvena Amshena, we are not, because we get contaminated when we come in touch with material energy, which is another energy of the Lord, another type of energy of the Lord. We get contaminated by that. But for the Lord, it's not like that. So, and then another aspect is that he brings with him all his paraphernalia from the Vaikuntha. So, you know, like we've seen, the moment there is an incarnation happening, then he says, like, you know, he's always with his devotees. He's always with his paraphernalia. So all of them come, including, they say, like Vrindavan means Gauma Vrindavan. So it was like the Vrindavan which is there. So a replica is created. So very great personalities, even in this material world, sometimes, they would like to have something very similar to what they have at home in another place, right? So that they are comfortable. I mean, for whatever reason. So it's not something that human beings have started to do. It is something that is there in the Lord, and then which he is practicing, and then we end up imitating him in one way or the other. So all of that manifests here. Then his name, then his form, his quality, his paraphernalia, his entourage, all belong to the transcendental world. So any way we associate with any of these things, then it has an effect on us. That is why there is the shloka in Bhagavad Gita which says, what is that? Everything is divyam. Anybody remembers that?
जन्म कर्म च मे
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम
यो वेति
एवं यो
यो वेति
तत्त्वतः
तत्त्वतः
त्यक्त्वा देहं
देहं
पुनर्जन्म नैति
पुनर्जन्म
मामेति
नैति महमेति. So Arjuna, so he says, like, all my activities, my janma, my karma, everything is divyam. So anyone who is understanding this, Mameti so Arjuna, Naiti Mameti so Arjuna, I will assure that you are not being born again. That means what? You become transcendental. So you will be able to clear these material hankerings or the material misgivings or the material contamination, and then go into the spiritual realm by just associating not even with the Lord directly, but even with any of his entourage, paraphernalia, etc., etc., his name, form, quality, all of that. Okay. So now we know Prabhupada says that real goodness is in the transcendental world. Here in the material world, the quality of goodness is not pure. So goodness exists, but it is not pure. So because it is having tinges of other modes, it is the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. So we might be good, but with some ignorance. We might be good, but we might be very passionate about it. So like that. So which is not in its pure stage. So it's not Shuddha Sattva. But the Lord is not like that. So that's the word that they use here. In the spiritual world, the unalloyed quality of goodness prevails. So spiritual world's goodness is different from material world goodness. Because though it is an indication of how it is, but it is not exactly the same. So that is much more higher. And that is why to differentiate it, it is called as Shuddha Sattva or pure goodness. Another name for Shuddha Sattva, Prabhupada says, is Vasudeva, because God is born from Vasudeva. So, that's how the Prabhupada is explaining here. So, another meaning is that when one is purely situated in the qualities of goodness, he can understand the form, name, quality, paraphernalia, and entourage of the Supreme Personality of God. So, if we have to understand the qualities of the Lord, we will have to understand it from the sattva stage. That is why they say, like, you become sattvic first. Sattvagun, you will have to develop. You would have heard in various discourses, acharyas talking about how we should give up tamogun and rajogun and then come to the sattvagun platform. So, though the sattvagun is contaminated, but being in that platform is like it eases the way for moving higher and then for understanding the Lord. Because the Lord is so merciful that even in that small contaminated state, also some amount of understanding is given. So we can say we will begin to understand the form of the Lord, the name of the Lord, the qualities, the paraphernalia, the entourage, and all of that. So we will begin our understanding when we hear from the sattvic platform. And that is why it's very important, because the Lord is sattvic. So here, that is when then we are compatible to understand. Otherwise, if the compatibility is not there, then there will not be any understanding. There's a disconnect. Nothing happens then, nothing flows. So if we are in Rajogun and Tamogun, too much of it, and then try to read the Bhagavad Gita, we will not understand anything. Or any scripture, or even the Leelas. We will just hear it as a Leela. We might remember it and all that. But that will be heard like a story, that's all. That also will have an effect because the Lord is so merciful. Then it will take a long time. It's like the Prabhupada gives that example of a wet grass and the grass inside the water. So it's like that. So Tamogun is like grass inside the water. Wet grass is like Rajogun. And dry grass is Sattvagun. So you take it to the fire, it immediately catches fire. Whereas the wet grass, you take it next to the fire, it will take a long time because that wetness has to go away. Then after that, if you continue to eat it, then it will catch fire. And then the grass which is inside the water, that though you can't take the fire near it at all. You will have to take the grass first out of the water. Then it will be wet, then you have to dry it. So the pre-process is very long. So that is why sometimes some people very quickly they are able to catch on because they are like dry grass. They are in that sattva gun. They have cultivated that. So they are able to quickly understand. Whereas another person might take a little longer because of the gun in which that person is in. So this is how we can kind of connect these things, And then so the takeaway is that sattva guna is very necessary for us. Why sattva guna is necessary? Somebody might ask. So this is a very strong reason. There's a very strong point, which is because the Lord is in Shuddha Sattva, and to understand the Lord, then we should be in that sattva gun, so that it is a connection that happens, and then we are able to then link ourselves with the Lord in a way that has to be linked. Otherwise, we will end up with linking in a totally wrong way, like how Kamsa was also thinking of the Lord, but he was thinking in an unfavorable way. So that's because of the various other gunas, because he was very high on passion. And so he was not able to connect to the Lord in a proper way. For one example. So like that, you can see many examples in the Bhagavatam itself. So, and then Prabhupada also talks about the word amshena. So amsha means what? Amsha is there are two words there. One is the Lord expands as kala or as amsha. So kala and then amsha. Amsha means direct expansion of the Lord, and kala means expansion of the expansion. You get that? So one is Krishna, then the direct expansion. They are all amshas of the Lord. So there are direct expansions like Balaram, and then the four quadruple expansions. We know that. Who are they? Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. So Sankarshana is actually Balaram is Sankarshana. So like that. So these are the four direct expansions of the Lord. Then the expansion of the expansion. What are they? We know that after the first quadruple expansion, one more quadruple expansion happens from Sankarshana, I think. So where again you have Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. And then that second Sankarshana is where you have from whom then Narayana comes. And then from Narayana, then you have the three different types of Vishnus. What are the three types of Vishnus? Who can tell? You all know that.
Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu,
Vishnu,
Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu,
Vishnu,
Karanodaka Sai.
Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. So now you see all of these expansions are called as not expansion, but expansion of the expansion, because from Krishna, one expansion, then from there another, from there another. So expansion of the expansion. So now you understand what that word means or that phrase means, expansion of the expansion. So they are direct expansions or expansions of expansion. So either way, one is called as Amsha, the other one is Kala. So there is no, but then Prabhupada also very nicely brings out the aspect that there is no difference between an expansion or expansion of the expansion. So there is no difference between, say, Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu and Narayana, or even higher, the direct expansion. That is the first quadruple expansion, Vasudeva. Let's just take that personality, and then the personality of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu or Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. There is no difference. They are all Vishnu Tattvas. They all can be, because again, that example, you light one candle, use that candle which was lit, and then to light another candle. So, and then so on. So all of the candles will have the same capacity, burning capacity. So that example we can use to understand how those Vishnu Tattvas are manifested by direct expansion as well as by directly lighting from that original candle, or after one candle is lit, you can light your candle with that second lit candle also, right? So it'll still light, it'll give the same light. It's not like because I lit from the third candle, my light is less. No, it's not like that. So in this way, there is no difference, and there is no difference between one candle and another which are lit up. But however, we have to understand that the first candle, the original candle, is different, because that original candle is Krishna, and the other expansions or the other candles which are lit later on are all the Vishnu Tattvas. So there is some difference between these two. How many of you agree? Do you know? I mean, do you agree that there is a difference between Krishna and Vishnu Tattvas?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
64 qualities.
64 qualities. So this is like a revision for all of us. So, and for people who don't know, anyway, it is good information. So Krishna, we know he has got all his opulences in full. So that's an aspect that we have been, I mean, we understand that, okay? So there is one particular shloka in Bhagavatam, in the first canto, it comes, Ete cham sakalaha pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridhayanti Yuge Yuge. So here, if you see, what does it say? It says that in the translation, it says all the above mentioned incarnations. This was after, okay, this verse is the 28th verse in the third chapter, 1:3:28. So here, before this, prior to this, there was a mention of all the incarnations. So then finally, there is a conclusion that is happening here. And in that conclusion is very apt for our discussion now. So we'll just see that. So it says that all of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. So same thing, what we just said now. But Lord Sri Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Now, all of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. Okay? So the Lord incarnates to protect the theist. So what is that Bhagavad Gita shloka? All of them appear on planet whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists.
Yada yada
Yada
hi
yada hi
Pranaya.
dharmasya
Pranaya sadonam vinashaya tadhi.
Yeah. So see, you can see how every bit is aligning everywhere, and then all the shlokas are there. The Lord has already said all that, and then here you can see how all that is unfolding. Okay. So see, actually, the aspect of Veda, Abheda, Tattva is coming out very nicely here, if you can understand that. So even though they are all same, the Vishnu Tattvas, there also there is Veda and Abheda. There is some difference, or there is some subtle difference between the Vishnu Tattvas and the original, that is Lord Krishna. So like you all said, the 64 qualities appear in full for the Lord, for Krishna. All of it in full. 64 and all 64, 100%. That is Krishna. Now the Vishnu Tattvas, they are not like in that mode. They only have lesser. You know, I mean, anybody knows? You want to say how many qualities are there for the Vishnu Tattva?
60, Prabhuji, 60.
60. So around 93% of the 64 qualities is what is there in the various expansions of the Lord. Now, these various expansions of the Lord, Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy in this particular purport, where he says that the Lord's, understands that different powers are required for particular functions, right? Like we are human beings, we understand that. No, if you have to hold on to something delicate, you will not put so much of pressure. You will lift it up with not putting too much of pressure on your fingers, right? Otherwise, it will crush or crumble. If you have to pick up something delicate, or if you have to pick up like something which can crumble very easily, so you will be careful. Then, if you're picking up a glass bottle or a plastic bottle, then you grasp in a different way. If it is something else, you have to hold on tightly, then you hold on even more tightly with that. So you use your power in the way it is needed, what is needed. You don't, just because I have power, I'll go and then hold it very tightly, means then it might have a disastrous effect. So this is common sense. The same way the Lord also, it's not necessary for him to display all his powers. You understand that? So the different powers, I mean, he displays them only based on what is needed or what is required. The opulence or the power or whatever is there in him, he will only display it to the extent it is needed. That's all. So for that, Prabhupada gives a nice example. He says that when in a small room, electric bulbs are displayed, it does not mean that the electric powerhouse is limited by the small bulbs. You are getting the power from the powerhouse only, which has got so much of power. But in the small bulb, what is displayed? Only that much which is needed. If you put too much of energy into that, but then the bulb will blow up. The whole bulb will just blast. So like that. So the same powerhouse can also supply power to operate a large-scale industrial dynamo or some big machinery also. So the power is there based on what is needed. If it is a small bulb, a night lamp, or whatever it is, it will give that much on. Or if it is some big machinery has to be operated, then from the same powerhouse, then more energy will go there. So more great voltage is needed. Okay, whatever. Technically, you understand now how it is. So similarly, the incarnations of the Lord display limited power because so much power is needed for that particular time. That's all. So this is how, one example that comes to our mind is Krishna showed this Vishwarupa Darshana to Arjuna. There it is mentioned that he also shows the Vishwarupa Darshana or a similar kind of a Darshana to somebody else. Do you know who it is?
Duryodhana.
Duryodhana. Yes.
Duryodhana.
Then it was not that full-scale version. It was a very subdued, contained version of that thing, like where he shows him. But then Duryodhana doesn't understand. He says, "You're a magician. You're doing some trick on me," and then he tries to capture him. That happens when actually Krishna is going there to negotiate peace. The final effort that is being made. After that, then the war becomes inevitable, and then the war happens. The Kurukshetra war, that is. So anyway, like this, the Lord will display based on whatever is needed, because ekam shena sthito jagat. So he says, no, all the opulences that you read about in the 7th, 8th chapters and all that, no? Yeah, it's in the 8th chapter end, it says ekam shena sthito jagat. All of this opulence, all of these mighty things that you see, it's all nothing but one small portion of my energy. So that's how the Lord has to be understood. So this is, and then the examples are all given here. So the example of Narasimhadev is being given here, where they displayed unusual opulence by killing the disobedient Kshatriya. So there the power was of importance to them. So that particular opulence was displayed a little more than the other kind of opulences, of the Lord. Like when he was Lord Parshurama, he was not like a king or anything. He led a very ascetic life. So there is no opulence, there is no Aishwarya Bhav or anything like that. But then power. So very strong. He could just 21 generations of the Kshatriyas he killed, and then he never tired out. So like that, the Lord plays wherever it is needed. So in Narsingha Avatara, Prabhupada writes, Hiranyakashipu was so powerful that even the demigods in other planets would tremble simply by the unfavorable raising of his eyebrow. That was how powerful Hiranyakashipu was. We all know that. And then you'll know about it in detail, because of this thing coming up here, Narasimha Jayanti coming up. So everybody was scared. The demigods were scared. People who had powers much, much beyond us, they all were very much afraid of him. But then the Lord, for him, with his nails, he was able to finish him off. It is like not even equal to the nail or the small portion of his personality, which is the nails, So similarly, Parshurama also did the same thing. He was able to kill by, giving that particular portion, which is about the strength of the Lord. And then likewise, the Lord actually gives powers, empowers people, even in the other incarnations, So not only the Swa and then this thing, but direct incarnations or a portion of the portion. Even we also are expansions of the Lord only, right? We are coming from the Lord. But the number of opulences that we have is very, very less. What is that percentage? As per the Shastras, we have 78%. So that's around 50. So all living entities all the way up to Brahma. And in that also, it is not like all 78 of them, we have 100%. We have those that many qualities, around 50 qualities. But those qualities also, the portions are very minute, like maybe 0.001% of that. While Krishna has 100%, we are all like very small portion or a tinge of it. That's all. So in this way, living entities we all have. And then it keeps varying in proportion for all living entities. And among the living entities, the topmost is Lord Brahma that we know. So Brahma has 100% of all that 50 qualities. So that's the benchmark. So from there, so we should aspire to develop these qualities. That is what Prabhupada says in that purport. And then he says that if you develop 100%, all the 78 qualities, if you are able to develop, and then if you're nearing to 100%, then you're like as good as Lord Brahma. Then after that, then you will be able to go into the spiritual world. So like this, the Sankhya philosophy is coming together, and then how everything is an expansion of the Lord we are seeing, and how the Lord still is remaining independent and aloof, and he's not connected, even though we are all plenary portions of the Lord or portions of the portions, and how the Vishnu Tattvas are a different category, and then how the marginal category, we belong to the marginal energy of the Lord. So the marginal categories have certain capabilities which are not matching with anybody, not even the Vishnu Tattvas. So in this way, and of course, Lord Shiva is at 80%, which is in between the Vishnu Tattvas and Lord Brahma. So these are some technicalities that we can see and understand, and then we'll also realize how the Supreme Lord is still unique, and even though we are from him, we are still different from him. So this Bheda Tattva is also coming out in these verses. So that's how we can see out to these verses. And then later on, we'll also see other things. We'll move on and see. I think I'll stop here. It's already 10:30. So if there are any comments or questions on the verses that we discussed today, please go ahead and we can take them.
Devotees, you all can raise hands for questions. Okay, Padma Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Prabhuji, we always told that we have to go higher than Sattva-gun. We have to go to Shuddha Tattva, right?
Yes,
So, what is the difference between these two, Prabhuji?
The Sattva Gun in the material world is with material contamination. So there is tinges of Rajogun or Tamogun. So there is Tamogun means ignorance. That means we don't know who we are. So we think we are this body. An example I'm giving. So we think we are the body, but then we display Sattva Gun. So body consciousness plus Sattva Gun is there. So it will not be the right Sattva Gun. It is not Shuddha Sattva. But then that quality is needed for us. The quality of helping somebody, that Sattva Gun, that all those qualities, but then in a bodily consciousness is also there. As an example, I'm saying. So, but then Shuddha Sattva is you are going beyond that. No, you are beyond the three modes of material nature. So where you are not, where completely Rajogun and Tamogun are absent, and then Sattva Gun prevails, and then it matures into Shuddha Sattva. That is called as Shuddha Sattva. So that's.
Can you give one example in the Shuddha Sattva? One example?
So the Shuddha Sattva is for the devotees, no? And then all the elevated people before that's how then they become liberated, because they have moved to the Shuddha Sattva platform, where they are not, they have all those qualities, the Vaishnava qualities, no? The 26 qualities, they are all qualities that bring about Sattva Guna. And they also understand they are not this body, they are the soul. So they are not having the Arshad Vargas. There is no Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mada, Matsarya. All these are functions of the body, bodily identification. So when all these are absent, and then Sattva Gun prevails, the 26 qualities of Vaishnava, that is cultivated, then you are almost in that Shuddha Sattva, right? Because you are thinking from the soul level. So then there is no hatred. You see everybody as a soul. Even at a materially, if somebody is doing something which is a little inconvenient or harmful to you, you are not worried so much, because anyway, you know it is the modes that is driving them. You are in that platform where you don't take any offense anyway. It might be a little difficult to comprehend, but that is how it is. So where it doesn't affect, even if it is directed to me, then like a good example. Narottam Das Thakura, he was being beaten in the public place, right? The 16 or 24 places, 18, I think. Okay, anyway. So what was his prayer there? He was saying, please forgive them. They don't know what they are doing. And he really meant it. It's not like lip service, oh, please forgive them. Not like that. He really meant it. And that is how then the Lord was protecting him. And then he was begging forgiveness to them. And that stage, Prabhupada also gives the example of Jesus Christ also, where he was saying, like, he was being crucified, beaten. So he was praying for the people who were doing that. So they are all very elevated souls who have reached that stage of Shuddha Sattva. That's an example we can take.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, very good example. Thank you. Very clear.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Pranams. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have a doubt, Prabhuji. When we are said that we have the free will to do anything, we are given little freedom. So how do we know, Prabhuji? Like Lord is the supreme controller. We are under the influence of Maya also. Then where is our free will executed, Prabhuji?
See, the free will is being exhibited in the choices that we make. Like the famous example in ISKCON that we give. So you have time with you, you have money with you. Both have been given to you because of your past karma. Now, what you do with that time and what you do with the money is your choice. Like, I mean, to put it very bluntly, they use this example for, especially for youth preaching. They say like, you can use your money to go and then buy liquor, or you can use your money to go and buy something else to help a needy, or you can use that money in the service of the Lord. So all the three different modes are coming out. And somebody might do A, somebody might do B, somebody might do C based on their modes, their mentality, their pravritti. But choice is given. They want to do it or they don't want to do it. Even while doing a bad act, however bad that person is, he also knows that maybe I need not do that, but still I'm doing this. So the choice is always there. The underlying principle of choice is there. It's just that we are not able to read it. Some people, we don't read it at all. Some people, we read it in a totally negative way. We think, oh, everything is my choice, only I will do. We are totally ignoring the hand of Lord. And the other extreme is, we are coming into Krishna consciousness, so we think everything is the Lord, which is also correct. But then we try to associate everything to the Lord. No, there is a small gap. So that gap is the free will or the choice that we have, where we can choose. And then based on what we choose, we will have to undergo the reactions of that. So either we will get spiritual credit, sukruti, or we will get good karma. It could be a karma kanda activity, which would be good also. You might get some good points there. Or it could be devotional service. So you will get some devotional credit points for that. So all this is reaction. But then the activity we choose to do, and in what consciousness we do, also we have a choice to do. So I can do the same activity in a very materialistic way for my own enjoyment. Tomorrow I might be happy. Or I might just do it with the consciousness of just pleasing the Lord. So that free will is given to us. It depends on to what extent we are exercising it. So sometimes we exercise it a little more, sometimes we don't. So at every stage there is free will. And then the other statement also, that the Lord controls everything, is also true in the same example, because we are actually, the way we react is based on our gunas, and then gunas are already based on what we have done in the past. So all that. So the Lord is giving us what we deserve. It's like the teacher giving marks based on what I have written. How well I did in the exam will come out 1 month later in the answer sheet. The result will tell us what was my effort that went in the exam. So even though the teacher didn't give me mark, if we say, it is not correct. Based on what you have written, the teacher has given us mark. So it's not like you can't blame the teacher. Okay, I mean, I'm just taking an ideal scenario. Sometimes we say that, right? Teacher did not give mark for this at all. The effort is not there. So the Lord is very fair, unlike the teacher example. So he gives based on what we have done. That's all. So little difficult to understand, but then as we dwell more and more, and then we surrender more, I'm sure we'll be able to see it clearly with the mercy of the Lord.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. In choosing, I understood, Prabhuji. Like sometimes when we are practicing bhakti very peacefully, all of a sudden we get troubled by anger and all these Arishad Vargas, all of a sudden, wherein we don't understand, Prabhuji, like how it or why it happens. Like we are completely controlled by the three modes.
Yeah, because we are controlled. As long as we are in this material body, we are always controlled. So we subdue it and try to bring it out. That we use our intelligence to bring that out. But then some weak moments it will come out. So that is why constantly sadhana bhakti. As long as we are in the material body, that is why it is called as sadhana bhakti. There is nothing else.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have one more short question. Is it okay? Can I ask?
I don't know. I leave it to the others.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
I can, huh? Okay. Now, Prabhu, those people who do like good things like charity and all that, so they go to the heavenly planets. But some of them must be having a tinge of spirituality also. So once they go to the heavenly planets, can they go to higher planets if they practice spirituality there? And is it possible to do that in the heavenly planets? Or they all have to come?
Theoretically, it is possible. I understand what you're saying, asking. Theoretically, it is possible to go, because from any planet you can go, you can be liberated. But practically, it is not possible as conditioned souls for us to go over. It is like asking a student, can I do my preparation in a in a mall, I can sit where there is a lot of music going on, sit and then do my preparation. Yes, theoretically you can, because nobody will stop you. You can go sit there, read, and then you can put your concentration and then do it. But then it's very difficult. But then compare it to a very quiet room where everything is conducive. There you can sit and read, better grasping will happen, and it becomes easier. Whatever you want to study, you'll accomplish very quickly. So like that, in the higher planetary system, there is so much of sense gratificatory options are there, and each of these sense gratificatory options have 10 times the effect. Like eating a gulab jamun here is giving me pleasure X. Gulab jamun eating in Vaikuntha planet, I mean, in the heavenly planet will be 10 times that, or 100 times, depending on which loka you're in. It all goes up by 10 times the same. So when there is so much of pleasure, it's very difficult for us to detach ourselves from that and then put our mind to Krishna, and then the process is the same. But then the detachment becomes more. It's like a stronger attraction will be there. So generally it is not possible. So they themselves realize that I'll come to material world, I'll do Nama Sankirtan, and I'll go. That's why they all take that option, because they realize that here I can't do. Like how a good, intelligent student will realize, oh, taking the books to the mall or to the stadium where some match is going on, it is not possible for me to read. He'll say, let me go home and then read it. So like that, they come back here and then do devotional service and then go back. So it is easier from here compared to that. This is what that is.
Prabhuji. So when they come back, like they take birth in ordinary families or devotee families or some aristocrat families? Those who come from
doesn't really, because it says that Krishna gives a birth in the way they get an opportunity. They have this strong desire to get out of this material world, and then they are coming, they want to take a birth, then Krishna will make that happen. He'll make it conducive by giving them either an aristocratic family or a very pious family. So that will depend, and both are the same, because it will give them a chance to engage themselves in devotional activities and not be worried about maintaining body and soul together. Because why the other things are not preferred? Because there you'll spend a lot of time in maintaining body and soul together. Means because you are in poverty, then it's difficult.
Yes.
So like that. So opulent family means you don't have that thought, so you can quickly move on.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Wonderful explanation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Really wonderful class. Nice explanation, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for your association, Prabhuji, and to guide us. Hare Krishna. Can we do the prayers and end the class, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, we'll do that.
अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, all devotees. Hare
Mataji.
Krishna to
Hare
all
Krishna.
devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Should I end the class, Prabhu?